Hey everyone, and welcome. So if you're a Fuji film photographer, I'm willing to bet you've experienced this. You open a beautiful RAW file in Lightroom, and your heart just sinks a little. Well, today, we're going to tackle that classic problem, and the solution, believe it or not, involves a very modern sidekick. Okay, let's just get right into it. For years, Fuji shooters have been talking about this one specific issue with their X-Trans sensor files in Adobe software. People call it the watercolor effect, and it's where all those beautiful, fine details, in leaves or hair or fabrics, they just look kind of smudged and pasty. And this right here, this is the heart of the problem, isn't it? Over on the left, you've got that gorgeous, sharp JPEG that your camera shows you. That's the photo you thought you took. But then, on the right, that's how Lightroom sees the RAW file at first. All that amazing crispness is just gone. It's replaced with that soft, almost mushy look. You've got all this rich data in the RAW file, but your starting point feels like a huge step backward.
Now look, this is not some new thing. Photographers have been complaining about this, trying all sorts of workarounds for the better part of a decade, since at least 2014. But one photographer, Eric Pedinari, started thinking, what if the solution wasn't just another setting or another slider? What if it was a whole new kind of partner?
And boom, that was it. That was the spark. The idea wasn't to ask an AI to make a picture, but to use it as a superpowered research assistant to solve a really deep, technical, real-world photography problem that has frustrated people for years.
So how was this thing actually built? This is what's so cool about this story. It wasn't like he just typed "fix my Fuji files" into a chat box and got a magic button. No, this was a true collaboration between years of human experience and the sheer analytical power of AI.
The whole process was just incredibly methodical. First, a super clear goal was set. Then, ChatGPT was put to work, sifting through and analyzing years of forum posts and articles about this exact problem. Next, it did a deep dive into the technical manual for the Fuji X100V. Based on all that data, a recipe of settings was put together, which was then tested, tweaked, and finally perfected into a Lightroom preset. So after all that research and all that refining, what they came up with wasn't just a preset, it's a whole workflow, a complete three-part system designed to get you the absolute best results every single time. The whole solution really stands on three legs. It actually starts inside your camera, using custom profiles to bake in a cleaner RAW file right from the start. Then you jump into Lightroom and apply the special FujiFlow AI preset. And for the grand finale, you use a specific command called raw details to really pop those fine textures. It's the combination of all three that makes the magic happen.
Just so we're on the same page, that raw details command is a super powerful tool that's already built right into Lightroom. Its whole job is to improve something called demosacing, which is just a fancy word for how the software reads the raw data from your camera's sensor. And it's especially good with complex patterns, which, surprise, surprise, is exactly what the Fuji X-Trans sensor is famous for.
Okay, so that's the process, that's the theory. But none of it matters if the pictures don't look good, right? So what does this workflow actually do to an image? Let's take a look. This photo right here, this is the one that convinced Eric Pedinari that he'd finally cracked the code. It's a simple shot, sure, but it's packed with exactly the kind of texture, skin, fruit, that usually cause all the problems.
So on the left, you've got the standard RAW import. You can see that slight softness, that kind of pasty look in the skin and on the blackberries. Now look to the right. After the FujiFlow workflow is applied, the skin texture looks totally natural and the fruit is suddenly sharp and defined. It's a big improvement for sure, but the real story is when you zoom in.
And when we punch into a 100% crop, oh man, the difference is just staggering. On the left, there it is, plain as day, that classic dreaded watercolor effect. The skin texture is just mush, but look at the right. Wow, the texture is sharp, it's clear, it's completely natural. The problem isn't just fixed, it's completely gone. All those details are back.
So this is way more than just a cool preset, right? It's a perfect case study in how to solve problems in a totally new way. But why does it work so well, and what's the big lesson here for the rest of us? Well, the reason this whole thing works comes down to one word: specialization. See, Fuji's own JPEGs look amazing because their software is perfectly tuned for their unique sensor. Lightroom, on the other hand, is built for everybody, so it can struggle with that specific pattern.
The FujiFlow method basically preps the raw file so Adobe's engine can understand it better, and then it uses that super targeted raw details command to bring out texture without creating ugly artifacts. It's just a smarter way to do it.
At the end of the day, what this workflow gives you is reliability. It means you can walk into any shoot, whether it's portraits or travel, and just know that you're going to get clean, professional, and consistent results from your raw files. It just takes that technical headache away so you can focus on being creative.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. Yeah, this was about a photography problem, but the approach here is universal. It shows how we can team up with these new tools, not just to create something new, but to solve those old, stubborn problems that have been bugging us for years. So the real question is, what's that long-standing creative problem that you're going to solve next?